Anybody remember what was sort of, this is the real Woodward and Bernstein. That would be the Woodward and that would be the Bernstein. And I got to say, I don't know about the Redford part, but the Dustin Hoffman part fucking nailed it on casting. I'm just saying, in terms of this. This is I don't even know how to even start to address this shit. But this is Greg Kelly, the most miserable man on the internet. We'll start off with a short piece tonight because we're going long, baby. Knuckle down. Get ready. All those folks who you're in a shelter in northern Florida and you got nothing but charged up phone and a lot of wait time. I'm here for you. Greg Kelly, Trump's sophisticated and smart move is too complex for Kamala Harris to understand. Oh, please. Do fucking tell. Because I got to say, ladies and gentlemen, I'm excited to hear what this is. Because the idea that there's something sophisticated and complex or smart that, or all of the above, I guess, that Greg Kelly can understand, I think is the biggest issue I have. Uh-huh. Yeah, and you cannot howl the sparks. Don't howl the sparks. Okay.
Ay, ay, ay. These two.
Ay, ay, ay. The Jews. Am I right, Greg?
Guys, Bernstein and Woodward, Woodward and Bernstein.
Yeah, whichever way you say it, it means the same, backwards and forwards, like the name of Satan himself.
Two most famous reporters in the world for a long time, maybe even still. They broke Watergate. Totally fake news, by the way. So many.
Okay, I'm just gonna enjoy this. Can we just all? Let me explain something, folks. This is like me going, George Carlin. I don't know if you've heard about him, but apparently wrote the end all be all bit on stuff, and and that's unfair to me because I'm actually a comedian. He's not actually a newsman. This guy's never actually done any reporting. What's the equivalent? It's the equivalent of fuck. No, not Judge Judy. I'm like, I don't want to be rude to anybody. Like, I can't. There is no standard low enough in other human beings. Morton Downey Jr. Maybe where this comparison isn't doesn't speak ill of the dead. Tell us, Greg. This fucking enough with the Woodward and the Bernstein. Jesus.
Myths about Watergate, and these two guys.
By the way, one of the myths is that Nixon is a bad guy who deserved what he got and was smart to resign when he did. That's one of the myths that Greg has got a problem with, by the way.
Washington Post reporters, but they were lucky. Right place, right time, some skilled marketing, and
some skilled marketing. You do realize if there's nothing to market, you can't. All right. I don't really. Your hairdo is doing some skilled marketing, giving the illusion that your head is actually solid and is not increasingly porous as you get to. Never mind.
Became international celebrities. 3 years after Bob Woodward joins the paper, Robert Redford is playing him in the movie.
Good quality video there. Newsmax. All right, big. Everybody, let's give it up. Let's give it up for whoever's in the control room that hates Greg and loves Robert Redford. Let's hear it for him. Oh, God. Greg, I'm sorry, but they hate you. Everyone in the booth, if there is even a booth, I think this is probably done remotely from Denver. Everyone in whatever digital headquarters runs your stupid little outfit. fucking hates you. Okay, sorry, I gotta raise the volume. All right, I'll do it again.
And Dustin Hoffman is playing the other guy.
The other guy? Again, what's your criticism between like Carl Bernstein and Dustin Hoffman playing him? Because seriously, they could have been twins.
It's kind of crazy, right? They have
No, it's not crazy at all. It's actually very normal. It actually happened. It's life. There's nothing crazy about it.
been dining out on Watergate for a long, long time.
Yeah, they've been, especially Woodward. He's been dining out with Trump, who can't stop talking in front of Bob Woodward. He won't shut the fuck up. If you think the rest of the world is impressed with fucking Watergate and all the president's men, ask Trump. That he's got more tapes of Trump than fucking Vindman does.
And for Bob Woodward, the hits keep on rolling. His newest book is called War, and
good God, y'all!
He's done very well with these.
That's the secondary title. That's the subtitle of it.
Books. I don't believe a word of them, to be honest.
You don't read a word of them, to be honest, Greg. You can't believe something you haven't read. Kind of like the same way you feel about the Bible, dum-dum.
I've caught this guy in some major deceptive writing.
Have you? Fucking busted in some deceptive writing. Have you now? Deceptive writing? Don't you catch someone in a lie? What? Like what? Like what, Greg? You don't actually think Trump is 6'3" and weighs 189 pounds, do you?
Can't say lie because then, oh boy, but...
Because you have to prove it, and it has to be meaningful, and you have to be able to give an example, and you can't. Yeah, I'm familiar with why. Like, Greg, the biggest problem I have pointing out when Greg Kelly lies, which I'm sure is, I don't think anybody bothers to chart it, is because the biggest problem I have is that he might be dumb enough to actually believe what he's saying. That's a problem, you know what I mean? Like, I can't say he's lying for sure because he might just be a fucking moron. You got me there. No, very few people have corralled plausible deniability in the pen of stupidity the way Greg Kelly, the most miserable man on the internet, has. Greg, if I ever go to the Newsmax studios and you're not there, I'm going to sit in your chair, buddy. Not the one you're sitting in right now. The one you have in your office. Yeah, the easy chair. I'm going to sit in it, and I'm going to pull my own finger and Trump in your easy chair. Who knows? Maybe I already have.
He's lying. Especially about Deep Throat.
Especially about Deep Throat. Yeah, that's it. Really? Was he? What was he lying about? You mean the stuff they put in the movie that was actually a fiction? The follow the money quote, which they didn't actually write, didn't actually say, that was in the movie, that's the screenwriter taking liberties with the book? You mean that part, stupid?
Big time.
Why are you still whispering, weirdo?
This is
also, what do you mean big time? I don't know, cite something. I just did.
An excerpt from the book that is supposed to scandalize us.
It's supposed to. Yeah, but why would it? I mean, just because Americans were dying by the hundreds, and people are having a hard time getting their hands on tests and whatever. It was a fucking hoax anyways. I mean, honestly.
Trump had secretly sent Putin a bunch of Abbott point-of-care COVID test machines for his personal use.
Uh-huh. While he was saying, we don't need that many tests in the United States, we should be testing less. Yeah. We're running out of tests, and everybody's like, where are all the fucking tests? Do we have a bunch of tests? And It's like somebody walked into the stock room and went, the fuck, why is this shelf empty? And he's like, I don't even know what we had there, but whatever it was, we don't need it. You mean that part?
This is the big scoop from...
No, it's not. It's not the big scoop. It's the teaser scoop, you dumb motherfucker.
the book. That and that Biden uses curse words a lot.
No, that's also not a scoop either. It's just kind of a prurient interest moment. But this is exemplary of the kind of behavior that Trump engaged in while he was.
And everybody is trying to make this into a scandal.
Why? No, and they can't do it. I'm not going to let them mount Trump. It won't happen.
Turn out of that new reporting from journalist Bob Woodward, his new book called War, the veteran reporter writing that during the early days of the pandemic, while it was raging here in the U.S., that then President Trump secretly sent a number of those rare COVID test machines to Vladimir Putin for Putin's personal use.
Oh, my gosh.
Now, by the way, you'll notice, very important distinction. And Greg, pardon me while I don't mean to interrupt you while you're being a complete asshole, but if you'll notice, the story is that they sent the test machines, not just the tests themselves, but the devices that actually tell you whether they're positive or negative, the actual, the machines at the time, right? The test machines, which early on, before they had you could swab yourself and do it at home, you needed those things, right? Those are medical devices. They're, it's right up there with ventilators. There are a limited number of them. And that's, if you'll notice, that's what the story is about, that they sent not just tests, but the test machines. But what does Greg Kelly's Chiron say? Let me get somebody to whisper. He's flying big time. New book, Trump sent COVID tests to Putin during pandemic. No, he didn't, motherfucker. He did send tests, but the key part of it is that he sent the testing machines, the things that are rare, hard to get, and are mechanical devices that are, they're rare medical devices you can't get your hands on. He sent those. He didn't just send fucking scratch and sniff, like, spit on this and it'll tell you if you got COVID. Yeah, hospitals needed them all over the country, and Trump sent not just one, sent multiple. See that letter right there? It's a very crucial letter, Greg. See that? See, it didn't say, it said COVID test. It doesn't say that. It doesn't say COVID test machine. It says COVID test machine. Zzz, zzz. Just to clarify. Asshole.
That's actually a good thing. I have no problem with it whatsoever. I understand, though.
Why? Because Americans needed them, and why him? Did he send them to anybody else? No. Did he send them to our allies? Were they short of them in Canada, and you could have sent them to Trudeau? What? I mean, I know you don't have a problem with it, but I want to hear why.
This book is coming out in October, and they want to make anything to hurt Trump, right? It should do the opposite. I think it will do the opposite, but...
Really? You think independent voters are going to go, oh, cool. Way to be a bro.
Kamala Harris, of course, was all in on the fake news.
Kamala.
Donald Trump secretly sent COVID test kits to Putin for his personal use. I ask everyone here and everyone who is watching, you remember what those days were like?
Mm-hmm. Oh, Greg, you shouldn't play the rest of it. You should just cut it off here and then go, how dare she, blah, 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 and make something up. This is the part where it gets really bad.
You remember how many people did not have tests and were trying to scramble to get them? You remember how rare it was to have one? You remember people by the hundreds were dying every day? We would watch the number every day being reported of people who were dying, people who were in hospitals without their family, where the only touch that they had was of a nurse that they hadn't met because the family could not get there. And this man is giving COVID test kits to Vladimir Putin?
Yes. Look at this fucker. Look at this fucker.
Wow. you, man, sometimes that was, you see why they picked her, right? I mean,
because she gives a shit. Yes, that's why we picked her. That's why she was the VP, so that if anything happened to the president, she would be second in line, because we were all cool with that, and that's awesome, and that's why we're happy she's the fucking nominee, you absolute dickhead. This is so fucked up. Again, Greg, now, look, in all fairness to Greg has never met a woman in his life that doesn't fake everything. So I don't expect him to be able to tell a real emotion from a manufactured one, because if he could, he would be even more depressed than he already is. Just saying.
there are some things she can do okay.
And one of them is kick Trump metaphorically in the gym jams and watch you squeal.
Act. And these over-the-top performances and a nugget of fake news and try to blow it wide open. This does...
Okay, wide open is what you do with a story. Way out of proportion is what you're trying to say with your feeble little pea brain. And this is what honest disgust looks like. Greg, if any man on this earth should be able to recognize honest disgust in a woman's face, it would be you. I mean, honestly, at this point.
It's not really. I mean, that was some serious, you know.
Yeah, she means it, fuckwad.
You know, you share stuff like a couple of hundred COVID tests with the guy.
No. First of all, a couple of hundred makes it sound even worse than your stupid fucking Chiron. It's the machines themselves, you dumb motherfucker. It's the whole kit and caboodle. It's the whole processing thing. Like, it's a crate full of shit that was very hard to find during the height of the pandemic, and he sent it to his fucking buddy, dum-dum.
In Russia. And you know what it does? Maybe it prevents a war.
What war? It didn't. He still attacked Ukraine. He was always planning on it. Apparently, he got such a boner watching us leave Afghanistan, right? That he was like, fuck it, I'm going to kill a bunch of people in Ukraine and 790,000 of my own people. Sorry, 820,000 of my own people. Sorry, 850,000 of my own people in the process. So, sorry, did he send him to Xi Jinping too? Did he send him to the mullahs in Iran? Is that what you're suggesting? That this was part of the fucking, like, the Abraham Accords, basically, is that he was just any enemy in the world? Did he send him to Kim Jong-un too, you dumb motherfucker?
A little gesture like that can prevent a war.
What war? What war? They were buddies, dum-dum. The whole world was in, and it didn't. Again, when the fuck has Russia ever been deferential to us as a country, even when Trump was in office? Jesus Christ, there was not a single meeting Trump had with Putin where he didn't come out looking like he had a chapped butthole. What is wrong with you?
Maybe that's one of the reasons why 62% of the American people believe that there would be no war in Ukraine. Putin would not have invaded if Trump...
Source, Harvard, Caps, Harris poll. Give me a date on that.
Had been president. Look at that.
Oh, that's because a bunch of people believe, yeah, Putin wouldn't have invaded. Trump would have just handed him the country. Yeah, by the way, I would technically, agree with that concept, depending on how the question is worded. Absolutely. They wouldn't have had to have an invasion. He would have just handed the fucking place over. He would have undermined them, and they would have just assassinated Zelensky and put a puppet in and then, like, undermine the country from within. Fuck off.
This is a poll taken, I think, 2 years ago.
Sorry, this is a poll taken 2 years ago. Maybe take one now? After a little time has passed? And we actually, that explains a lot. This is probably what Trump is citing all the fucking time. Is a poll that happened like right after the invasion started when he was, telling this bullshit story.
2%. That is a big number, don't you think?
Yeah. And?
Yeah, let's see.
Fuck you. What are you talking about? Sorry. So Trump, as the president of the United States of America, gives Vladimir Putin a bunch of testing machines and loses the election. And Putin thanks the United States, who, you know, those were the property of the taxpayer, by invading Ukraine, because fuck us, I guess. And I can see why you would want to keep a guy like that alive. Hey, asshole, here's another one. Let's poll this. If Trump hadn't sent COVID testing stuff from the United States to Vladimir Putin, would he have been, well, how many people think 62% of Americans believe that Putin would have fucking died and there would have been no invasion? maybe that works. Does that fit that into your theory? Jesus.
See. Now, Kamala Harris is all worked up about this. It was fake, right? We know fake.
No, it wasn't fake. It actually happened. Trump's not denying it. Russia just said it was true.
Fake. That was fake. You want to hear about side deals, Kamala? You want?
Yeah. It's Kamala, by the way. But yeah, tell us about side deals, dum-dum.
You know what a side deal is?
Absolutely. Let me guess. A side deal is how you lost your earlier time slot to Greta Van Susteren.
It's not what Donald Trump did. It's what your one-time mentor did.
This is my last election, yeah. And after my election, I have more flexibility. Yeah. And I transmit this information to Vladimir and Stanley.
Tell Putin after the election I can not worry about the people.
Yeah, he didn't have to tell Putin. Medvedev was the guy actually in charge at that time. Putin was he was sock puppeting for Putin at that point. Also, the idea was they were trying to create a stand down. This is in 2012. They were trying to edge them back from attacking Ukraine the first time. It didn't work. They were trying to play nice. The same way Biden, when he came in, said, okay, you can do the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Nobody in America can insure it, though.
People anymore, and just do whatever you guys. I can do business with you. That is low. That's sinister. That's not right. And let's just review real quick. Russia invaded Ukraine in 2014, and Barack Obama was president. All right, we're
Yep.
going to leave that storm thing up. I know it's cutting off some of the text, but we want to leave that up for the time being.
Yeah, for the time being, because fuck them. Also, by the way, I would like to say for the record, Joe Biden during the 2014 thing said we should have pushed back a lot harder, and also was against the surge in Afghanistan, specifically in line with this, that we should be forcefully helping the Ukrainians and getting the fuck out of Afghanistan, because the generals were far too focused on trying to maintain in Afghanistan, and it was a lost cause. He believed that it was not worth it. He turned out to be right on both fronts. And that's why when Joe Biden came in, we got the fuck out of Afghanistan immediately, and why Putin realized this is his last shot at actually attacking. Anyway,
let's see. Russia invaded Ukraine again in 2022 when Joe Biden was president, right?
Yeah, and a very different result, wouldn't you say? Oh, that poll was taken before the invasion, Mike? I don't know. I think it was taken at the time of it, I want to say.
Right? Yeah. Now, what happened in the years 2017 to 2021, if you don't mind? And what was going on during those years?
He was giving our bases to the Russians in Syria. He was giving up ground that got the Kurds killed. He was using our soldiers as human shields to guard gas refineries in Saudi Arabia against Houthi missiles. He was basically pulling out everybody in Afghanistan down to a skeleton crew and basically leaving everybody open to being shot. That's why 56 soldiers and contractors were killed during his presidency, because they were operating on a skeleton crew. And he was basically making, even bigger deals directly with Putin specifically to give him the territory. Something like that.
President Trump was president. You notice a pattern? Putin did not invade. And you know what? I bet those COVID tests, if it's true, if he gave them to Putin, probably helped the situation.
By the way, these are not the tests that they got. Again, look at this lie. Look at this fucking lie. Greg, Booby. These are the ones we can get now after we've been through the pandemic and it's been a while. This is not what was happening in fucking, whatever, April of 2020. Was it May? It was May. It was May of 2020. Right about the time he was coming out saying, we're testing too much anyways. We test, test. And we get, every time we test somebody, we get a case, and it drives our numbers up. We got more cases because we got more, we test more, so we got more cases. That's not how shit works at all. Again, I think, who was it that did? Yeah, I think it was Seth Meyers who's like, fire alarms don't cause fires. Yeah.
A couple of these things to prevent a war?
No, not a couple of those things. We didn't have those things, dum-dum. It was machinery. It was medical equipment.
What do they look like when you pack them all up? A couple of hundred of these things in a bag. Can we take a peek? It's just a bunch of stuff in a bag.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of stuff in a bag. From a company that makes them now. Okay, hold on. Let's see, real quick, if I may. Chat room, talk amongst yourselves while I look something up. This is the new ones. Let's see. Yeah. There you go. This is a basic the accuracy of PCR and gender of here you go. So this is kids. This is the device, if I may. This might not be the actual device, but this is in general the kind of stuff that we're talking about. And the ones the government uses, especially in emergencies, the kind we have for the president and others, are even nicer. This is a PCR testing machine. It's a PlasLabs PCR UV chamber. It costs about $5,000. And that's now with like high output, and you can get a bunch of them. They're available. You're not trying to get to the front of the line. And they sent a dozen of these or so when you couldn't get them, and then all the testing materials and equipment for everybody in the fucking Kremlin, basically. That is not a bag of shit, dum-dum. It's not that. This isn't even the one. But this is in general what we're talking about. And it was at a time when you couldn't fucking get one. And and Sputnik sucked. Their COVID vaccine did not work.
Send them to Putin and stop a war. These are COVID tests, right? When they stuck that giant toothpick up your nose.
Right, yeah, you think that's how it worked, dummy? You think when we were doing it like this, that there was just a little box, a little blue box, you had to go someplace? Fuck me. He really is this stupid. Like, again, I can't even call Greg Kelly on this lie because he's that dumb. He's fucking dumb. Like, his outrage is entirely coming from just self-imposed ignorance.
A giant toothpick up your nose prevents...
That's not a toothpick, by the way. It would be a nose pick anyways, but it's a swab, stupid. Remember those? Those were hard to get too.
The war. All right, can I see that one more time? I hate to... This is going to...
You hate to what? Read?
They want this to be the October surprise. But...
No, they don't. I think Woodward was counting on it to some degree, helping his book sales to release it in October, because I got news for you. Trump's going to lose. Yeah, he's going to lose badly He's going to lose Pennsylvania by at least 120,000 votes. Okay? Yeah, for real. That little percentage difference, that's 120,000 votes. A big state. And he's going to lose Pennsylvania by 120,000 votes. This is going to be over the next morning. He's going to lose really fucking bad. And that book will be interesting to people after the fact, after Trump is a fucking stain on, on America's history. But it's not going to be crucial, right? Not the way it is before the election. I'm just telling you.
But this is another reason to actually like Trump.
No, it isn't. Well, I mean, by the way, Greg, I gotta, honestly, is there anyone who watches Greg Kelly's show that wouldn't suck the crumbs off of Trump's taint? Do you think those people need another reason? And if they do, what does that say about his appearances on the trail? Is he losing support? So you gotta rush in and do cleanup this poorly?
Because this is how diplomacy actually works.
No, it's not. We don't. We didn't need to do diplomacy like this with Vladimir Putin. We really didn't. We had a lot of allies who can get just as sick and just as dead.
High-end diplomacy.
High-end diplomacy. Well, they were expensive tests, sure.
Richard Nixon. All right.
Also, by the way, Trump is a billionaire, right? Multi-billionaire. So is, if I'm not mistaken, so is Vladimir Putin. He couldn't buy his own shit, his own PCR testing machines. No, couldn't just tell him how to calibrate it. Maybe get him in contact with the CDC like every other fucking government in the world that was coordinating with us and go, hey, if you want to look out for this disease, it looks like this. Maybe calibrate your PCR test to look for this, because that's how we know somebody's got COVID and how long they have to isolate. And we're learning this on the run because it's a new disease. Maybe, I don't know, maybe just have a fucking conversation instead of sneaking him shit that our hospitals need.
All right. People will say he was very, very good at world affairs. There he is with Leonid Brezhnev. Now, Richard Nixon was an ardent anti-communist, right? But you had to meet with the guy, and you had to win him over.
Right. We were in the Cold War at the time. Fuck do we give a shit about Russia, especially during Trump's presidency? Since 91, you think anybody's been grinding about this except fucking Russia and I guess all their fucking franchisees like Trump?
Donald Trump gave a couple of Q-tips to Putin. You know what Richard Nixon gave to Brezhnev? A Cadillac. A brand new car. That's Nixon in the light blue coat. Brezhnev is in the far left. Henry Kissinger is back there. This was a...
Yeah, by the way, this was not at a time when Americans were stranded and needed a car to get out of a disaster zone. You fucking weirdo.
Lincoln Continental. The color is officially midnight blue, said to be Leonid's favorite. They gave him a palette to choose from. Anyway.
Yeah, what's the difference? A fucking Cadillac medical equipment that we're desperately in need of during a fucking a pandemic. Yeah.
That's kind of what we are looking.
What? Oh, Patrick Byrne, owner of Overstock and Trump supporters, left the country and fled to Dubai, evading Dominion lawsuit. That makes sense.
For sophisticated, smart diplomacy. Not saying what you think the people want to hear, Kamala. All right?
Why would the people want to hear this, dum-dum? You might be onto something. Why? I don't know why I turned into fucking Jimmy Stewart just then. Hey, why? What are you talking about? It's a terrible Jimmy Stewart. There might be a reason why the people want to hear this, because it was hidden, and if it's nothing to be ashamed of, it shouldn't be.
Not that fake outrage fear-mongering. It's not going to work. If I had...
Jesus. Stop fucking... It's creepy. It's fucking creepy. I don't know what it is. Get some fucking lip balm. I have some in my desk. I always have some right here. Now, I don't use it as often as I should. I probably should do this more often, you know? Just to... yeah, just have it. Somebody... fuck, I was about to say, have somebody that cares about you go get you some, but... the next time you're on the bus, look around, because it's one of those things people often leave on the seat. I don't recommend this for anybody but Greg Kelly, but pocket that little fucker and put it in your desk in case you need it, so you don't have to lick your chops like a fucking cartoon wolf.
I had to bet if I were kidnapped right now by terrorists and they said...
and they said, what the fuck are we going to do with this guy? All right. Whose big idea was it to kidnap the guy nobody wants? What the fuck were you? Gary, come here. What? Come here. Who the fuck is this? What are you talking about? Is it Greg Kelly USA? Who the fuck's Greg Kelly USA? I don't know. That's his fucking... That's his YouTube handle. Tell him it's your YouTube handle. Yeah, it is. It's my YouTube handle. So what are we gonna get in exchange for him? Exchange? Yeah, he's a hostage. You know, we're taking him hostage. Obviously, we expect to get some. Nobody's gonna give a shit for this dude. Maybe we could give him chores.
Look, you got to tell us what you think is going to happen on the election, and if it doesn't come out that way, we're gonna do something really bad to you. And they...
Sorry, real quick. So terrorists are going to kidnap Greg Kelly for his powers as a prognosticator. If I were you, Greg, I would tell them you're probably better off abducting Punxsutawney Phil, because he's got a better record than this dunce.
Put me in a basement. I would have to say, if my life depended on it, I would bet that Trump wins in a landslide. That's how it feels. Certainly in
Well, it was nice knowing you, Greg.
Electoral landslide. And her...
Certainly, listen to that shit. Certainly an electoral landslide. Yeah, he's going to lose the popular vote again. You just basically written that off.
People are seeing right through her. Could be
Are they?
wrong.
Well, hey, don't tell me, Greg. Tell the terrorists. They're the ones who are going to have to do something terrible to you. You know what I'm going to say is I think you should take that chapstick, carry it with you. You might need to put it on another orifice as a balm.
But I'd bet my life that I'm right.
Yeah, I'm gonna see your life and raise you an actual life. And what is that? That's his auntie. I bet my life. That's all right. I'm gonna call. What? Yeah, I'm gonna call. I've already got $5 down. What do you want? I bet my life. What's left of it? Jesus Christ. Also, that was. Does anybody know? I guess the sophisticated and smart move was too complex for Kamala Harris to understand. Was the giving of PCR machines and the testing materials for them to Vladimir Putin at the height of the pandemic, when Americans couldn't get them, and Greg Kelly, who is a fucking idiot, thinks that the tests they're talking about are the ones that weren't made until much later, actually in the Biden administration, after we'd figured out how to create a rapid test for it. Before we had rapid tests. Couldn't, amazing, ask a lunatic a question, get a lunatic answer, All right, so now,
in our
Lord.
own time.
Oh,
is
shut
Trump.
up. No, he's not. And this
So, like
is
10,000
go with that. All right, and then jump in here. I don't want this. Okay, that's done. All right. I'm gonna break something up. By the way, you're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, give it a thumbs up. Support